This is the Farm Monitor. For over 50 years, your source for agribusiness news and features from around the Southeast and across the country, focusing on one of the nation's top industries, agriculture. The Farm Monitor is produced by one of the largest general farm organizations, the Georgia Farm Bureau. Now here are your hosts, Ray DeLessio and Kenny Bergamy.
All right, welcome to the show. Hope your week is winding down on a positive note. As you can see, no Kenny. He is off taking care of some Farm Bureau business, but that, my friends, is the only change. We still have a great show planned for you. For instance, the FFA chapter in Lawrence County. Whether it's learning about horticulture or rescuing baby goats like this one, these students are getting a ton of hands-on experience, all thanks to some innovative teaching. For local producers, it was a chance to hear from industry experts and maybe get some ideas for a sustainable future. John HOLCOMB reports on some of the key issues discussed at the annual Ag Forecast meeting. Plus,
well, everybody, Ranger Nick, coming up a little bit later, you know, drones are the buzz, and we're talking this month with a scientist in Tifton, Georgia, about how these can complement current precision ag efforts with a drone the size that'll barely fit on a pallet. That and a whole lot more starts right now on the Farm Monitor.
well, with career opportunities in agriculture expanding by the day, it's more important than ever to highlight what all the state's #1 industry has to offer for students. It's the reason why FFA chapters like the one at Dublin High School are diversifying their curriculum and, as Damon Jones reports, encouraging some unique projects.
While rows of desks in front of a dry erase board might be your typical classroom landscape, FFA programs are looking to change that perception of learning by giving students practical experience in real-life settings. And here at Dublin High School, their classroom can change by the minute.
We're in our greenhouse right now. They can learn about horticulture and the different things that go into growing plants in a greenhouse setting. But we also have some livestock with our goats. And we've also added ag mechanics and a bunch of other programs that we're hoping to give kids as much opportunity to learn what it is that they want, because our primary purpose is high achievement and success for all students. And we realize that that shows itself in different ways. It just makes for a really fun environment for the kids where they see that learning doesn't have to be restricted to a desk.
This unique way of learning is not just designed to keep the students engaged, but also give them an appreciation for what the agricultural industry means to their everyday lives.
We have a lot of children that are country adjacent but aren't very familiar with what ag is or what agriculture is or the processes that go into creating the food and the products that we need to live on. And so agriculture education is very vital to us in our work through CTAE and just through exposing children to the food and fiber systems that move their life.
And recently, one student applied those lessons learned to save an abandoned baby goat. It was an unexpected experience that was a result of a split-second decision.
We actually came out here during the storm and was under the shelter trying to get the baby to milk. And then we saw another little baby that just looked so tiny to the point where he just looked like he wasn't getting no milk. So when Donnell came back out here to check on him, he was like, "Emily, he's face down in the mud. Mama's just not wanting him." So he was like, "Can you please come pick him up?" So I did, and that's how I got stuck with the goat.
While both fun and rewarding, being the caretaker for an infant goat does present a common complaint for any newborn.
It has taught me that a goat is exactly like having a child, and it has taught me that every time he sleeps, I need to sleep, otherwise I'm not going to get sleep, but he has actually gotten a little bit better on sleeping, which is good.
So with the wide variety of topics this course touches on, from animal care to business management, students get to see just how diverse the agricultural industry really is and how many different career paths it can provide.
With agriculture being the #1 industry in the state of Georgia, that our kids need to be familiar, because making sure that they're college and career ready is one of our core purposes. And so understanding that for some of our kids, if we expose them to agriculture and agriculture opportunities, that could lead them down a path that gets them college or career ready.
Reporting from Lawrence County, I'm Damon Jones for the Farm Monitor.
Rest assured, some, if not most, farmers are getting very little rest while making plans for the coming year. That's where events like the one John HOLCOMB attended come into play.
Recently in Tifton, the University of Georgia held their annual Ag Forecast, a time where farmers, producers, and industry professionals discuss the fiscal outlook for the different sectors of the ag industry. This year, one speaker was William Chambers, Deputy Chairman of the World Agricultural Outlook Board, who says that things are looking up for the agricultural economy in 2023 as the Federal Reserve's aggressive measures seems to have gotten inflation under control.
In 2022 was just highly volatile with the inflation and the Federal Reserve combating that inflation. Now the situation is different now. Exactly where this lands remains to be seen. People are definitely less pessimistic than they were even earlier in, say, the fall. Inflation is still high, but it seems to be coming under control.
However, Chambers says the outlook for some commodities like cotton are a different story, as he says the price is down due to a decrease in global demand and even projects less acres being planted this spring.
We're looking at a reduction in planted area for cotton. Now we had some very preliminary estimates back in the late fall that had it down. And we're not the only ones that look at this. The different traders and commodity groups are looking at it. In fact, even here, the UGA estimates are down year on year, and that's why. The prices are down, global demand is down.
Thankfully, there's a different story for the state's poultry industry, as Dennis Brothers, an associate extension professor at Auburn University, says that demand for poultry continues to increase both domestically and worldwide.
The demand for poultry is high, and some of that's based on the competitive meat prices. But I think going forward, the poultry industry is going to continue to be a slow increaser in size, and that proves good for the average consumer, because I think that will help keep poultry prices at a good place to buy chicken, and it's also good for the grower and the companies.
However, according to Brothers, the poultry industry isn't without challenges, as he says the biggest threat facing the poultry sector is the current outbreak of avian influenza, which has now affected almost 60 million commercial birds across the country.
Probably the highest level of concern probably goes around with high pathogenic avian influenza. It didn't go away this year. It stayed around. It looks like it's going to be around. It may be an endemic problem going forward. That's a big concern for the poultry industry, both and at the integrated level and at the grower level.
And according to Brothers, another concern for the industry is what it costs producers to expand their operations, or for new producers to even get started in the industry.
If a grower wants to build new housing or wants to get into the business, the cost of housing is at extremely high levels right now. But don't know when that will come back down. Cost of lumber, the cost of metal, even cost of land. Potential growers are having to compete with residential housing to buy land if they're going to buy land to build houses. So it makes it very difficult for your average family farmer to get into the poultry business. A lot more difficult than it was, say, 10 years ago.
Reporting in Tifton for the Farm Monitor, I'm John Holcomb.
Well, everybody, Ranger Nick coming up. I'm hanging out with a scientist who's using this drone and others like it to fine-tune precision ag efforts in the field after the break.
Entomology, or the study of insects, affects our daily lives in ways we often cannot see. With a quintillion different insects living on Earth at any given time, their impact on the environment is immeasurable. In the entomology department at the University of Georgia, researchers are working to better understand this incredibly diverse group of organisms. Entomology students work with insects in a variety of fields, whether studying insect genetics, preventing insect-to-human pathogen transmission, learning to safely manage pests on a farm, or finding ways to preserve pollinator species. College of Agricultural and Environmental Sciences faculty provides students with a Tier 1 entomology education thanks to the department's multidisciplinary research and outreach backgrounds. Coupled with multiple degree options, hands-on research experiences, and individual attention from faculty, UGA Entomology students have endless opportunities to learn. At CAES, we are protecting pollinators that make our food crops available worldwide. We are promoting agricultural biodiversity to alleviate outbreaks that threaten our food and fiber. We are restoring ecosystems by rehabilitating areas damaged by insect infestation. We are protecting human health by reducing the number of pathogens transmitted by insects. Our focus on insect conservation, crop protection, and human health spans beyond the classroom, with students participating in outreach and education opportunities throughout the community. We have highly ranked graduate programs for students who want to take their existing degrees to the next level. And while our reach is wide, our department is tight-knit. Students learn from each other and push each other towards success. At CAES, students work side by side with internationally recognized faculty who are performing cutting-edge research in a variety of areas. As a result, our students graduate as top competitors in their field, ready to become leaders and improve our world. Join us as we commit to understanding the tiniest creatures with an outsized impact on our world.
All right, so maybe you've seen one of these guys out and about flying over a field. This is where we are today. This is where we were 5 or 6 years ago. We're using these guys to complement efforts that are going on out in the field, maybe to take a look and see where your crops might not be doing so well. And I want to introduce you to a gentleman that knows a few things about monitoring crops and precision ag, and that's Extension Precision Ag Specialist, Dr. Simmer Verk. Hey, Doc.
Hey, nice to meet you, Nick.
It's so good to meet you and spend some time with you. So we started with these a few years ago.
Yeah.
You were just working on a drone here, and we look at this progression here. Talk to me for the folks at home that might be saying, look, this is the new buzz. This is the new thing. I want to get on board this train. Why should I consider a drone? If I am considering it, why should I consider that as a complement to what I'm doing on my farm?
These drones, the early ones, we only had cameras on it, whether it's a visual camera or we got a multispectral camera on that. But those were meant more for scouting operations where you can go take pictures of your field, find areas that may not be doing well. And those really kind of the drones find their niche in a way where a lot of crop consultants are using it for crop scouting or plant stand counts in the season to look for issues. So those really kind of complement the work they're doing to make better crop management decisions.
And just imagine that you're at the edge of a field with your truck looking out. You don't know what's going on the backside. So that drone and that camera can help. What if you find something that's going wrong? How could one of these guys then help with that?
So that's a perfect example, and that's why I said crop scouting is probably one of the most or basic applications widely used for some of these drones, is because when we do any type of crop scouting manually, especially in large fields, like you said, we're gonna pull the truck right next to the border of the field, walk maybe 50 or 100 feet in, look at something, but you can't make a decision for the whole field just because you're seeing something here. So that's where you are. If you have a drone, something like this, you fly up there, look at the whole field from one perspective and see where everything's going on, and it helps you guide to where to go in the field to ground truth or to see, look up that closely and make those decisions.
And Simmer, I just want to show, so something like this I want to get into next with you in the next part, but there is a tank on this. There are chemicals in that. I want to talk next with you about how we would use something like this, precision ag, to go in and treat some of those smaller areas when a tractor with a boom sprayer might not be possible. So if it's all right with you, let's go there next. Well, isn't that cool? Look at that shot there, looking over a field, a drone out target spraying some particular areas that need special attention. And now back on the ground, here you are looking at this drone, and I gotta tell you, Simmer, I don't want to drone on and on this, but I don't see a camera. I do see some different features on this thing. Where does this fit in to the world of ag?
Yeah, so for sure, like you said, you know, this is not just what we saw earlier, a small drone with a camera or anything. We see a lot of additional components. So this is probably the newest technology on the drone side of the things, where now we have a spray tank, a lot bigger battery than what we saw earlier. There are some pumps on the back here. You see all these lines feeding to, you know, the nozzles on the drone. So what we call this is spray drone, you know, where now we're not just using a camera for taking pictures or scouting like that. we actually have the capacity here to put do pesticide applications with it.
And there's that word precision. So if I've got 300 acres of corn, you're saying it's probably not best to take this guy out to do all that spraying, but if I've got blueberries, if I've got grapes, a specialty crop like that, that's got a little issue in this one area, this is the guy to use?
Yeah, so for what it's good at, you know, what it's fit at right now is this is also kind of touted as a spot spray application, but also really good fit for small acreage crop, specialty crop applications, you know. Back to your point on like a 300-acre field, you could still use it for a spot spray because if out of your big field there's only a 5-acre patch or a small, even a half-acre patch, you know, you can take and do a spot spray. That's a perfect fit for it. But then when it comes down to small acreage, again, specialty crops, you know, you have only 5 acres of that land. This is a great tool, you know, to do when you can't get your ground sprayer out or you can't do any other aerial application.
Well, Doc, a lot of cool technology today, no doubt. And if I'm sitting at home watching this and looking at this technology and going, I want one of those, what would your advice be?
Yeah, for sure. So that's what we've been kind of doing past year or so, learning about the technology, but also learning about, you know, what a grower should know or what someone should know before investing in it. So one of the biggest thing is, you know, you got to follow the rules and regulations. There's some strict rules and regulations that kind of falls under the FAA. So you got to make sure you're meeting all those, especially when we're applying pesticides with an aerial applicator, right?
Absolutely.
And then anybody wanting to do spray applications on their farm also needs to be aware about, because we got all this research on ground sprayers from last 20, 30 or more years. And these platforms are so new that we know little about how they spray, right? The product you're spraying, how big is your swath, what water volume to use, is the product going to be even effective when you were using to spray with it? Concentration
right?
of it, right? So all those things, the biggest one is don't just go and buy it as a toy to fly. You got to think about where this technology can help you on your farm. You know, do you get in those situations every year where you think this would come in handy and you're able to make timely applications?
Yeah, and there's that idea about involving extension. I always try to make a call out to extension. Get in touch with that local county extension agent where you are. Ask some of those questions. And Doc, got to thank you for today.
Hey, no, thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
I really appreciate this, and the compliments of this technology to what's going on in the farm are huge. Well, while you're online looking at other YouTube videos of these things, because I know you're intrigued, check out the Farm Monitor Facebook page and the Ranger Nick Facebook page. And until next time, I'm Ranger Nick, reminding you that enthusiasm is contagious. So pass it on. Y'all, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you right back here again this time next month. See ya.
Well, this family-run business has supplied ag goods and services to the people of Dalton for a long time. Up next, 41 Feed and Garden Center and how they continue to have success despite competition from bigger box stores.
When we think about climate change, we usually think about the negative things, about what might happen where you live, what your operations involve, and how changing temperature or rainfall amounts or patterns might affect that. So one of our strategies is to adapt, and we can adapt by trying to modify the climate where our operation exists. And one practice that we are studying is the planting of trees. It's a approach where we're combining two different aspects of the landowner's operation. Because in the Mid-South region where we work, many landowners have both forest and pasture, but they're generally treated separately and managed separately and used for separate activities and income streams. What we're talking about here is planting trees at a wide spacing into pasture to actually help the forage production and the profitability of grazing animal production, reducing the impact of especially hot and dry conditions in late summer, which are prevalent in the region. If you imagine something like Africa watching the safari, well, there are these widely spaced trees with forages growing underneath them. It's a stable, productive system. If we envision that as our end goal, as our model for these systems, it has the advantages of timber production, and in our case, we also produce nuts, logs for veneer. Plus, if we can adapt to perhaps a hotter, drier climate in the future by managing trees to provide shade to our pastures and our grazing animals, then we're giving ourselves some insurance against some dramatic or negative consequences of climate change.
Finally this week, providing quality feed, seed, and other agricultural products to those in their community. As John HOLCOMB tells us, that's been the goal of 41 Feed and Garden for almost 4 decades.
As with any family-owned business, one day it's up to the next generation to continue the legacy. And for Adam Bramlett, the time has come as he's taken over the reins and now runs 41 Feed and Garden, a small feed, seed, and agricultural supply store his father started almost 40 years ago when he was just a toddler.
It's a family-owned business, and we started it when I was 4 years old, so I kind of grew up in it. Been here all my life, and you know, as I got older and learned more, more responsibility got handed over to me. You know, as I could do more, I did more. So we're kind of into the transition of now to where my father, who started the business in '83, he's taking more time off, and I'm, you know, kind of taking over at the wheel at it.
According to Bramlett, at times, running a small business like theirs can certainly be a challenge, as they're competing with big box stores. However, he says he loves every second of it, as he gets to help people with common interests achieve their goals.
You know, this is kind of a grassroots business. You got salt of the earth people come in, want to take care of their animals, they want to plant a garden, and if I can help them do that and produce something, they can get an outcome out of it that they like. You know, people send us pictures of their garden, and that's great. People send us pictures of their, you know, a baby calf that was born. You just can't beat that, you know. Especially today's times, people want to produce their own. You know, the homesteads are making a comeback now, and they're smaller, of course, on scale nowadays, but people are having backyard flocks. You know, they've got 6 or 8 chickens, and they enjoy getting their eggs. Stuff like that, it's just fun to me. You know, I grew up in it, like I said before, and it just something I've always enjoyed, and I enjoy being able to help the people get what they need to you know, to have that sort of lifestyle.
Bramlett believes why his store and other smaller locally owned stores alike thrive is due to them having a lifetime of experience and knowledge that can help anyone that comes in their store.
One thing we get a lot is I've been to store X and they gave me this and it just didn't work. So they come here and we have the knowledge and the experience to say, that probably ain't gonna work, let's try this. And you know, we have the experience to provide the solutions that you need, and we care. You know, if you don't come back, then we don't make a living. You know, if you shop here, you're helping a family. If you shop at store X, Y, or Z, big box store, you know, it's hard to get the service and the care that you'll get when you're shopping at a smaller business.
Reporting in Dalton for the Farm Monitor, I'm John HOLCOMB.
John, thanks so much from all of us here at the show. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time for another edition of the Farm Monitor. Have a great week.